Welcome to Workers Rock, a podcast that explores this truth that we have the power to change the culture of employment across the globe. I'm Emret Miller, the host of Workers Rock. Workers Rock is part of the Labor Radio Podcast Network. All right, we're here with Pinky, who is in Southeast Asia. Welcome to Workers Rock, Pinky. How are you?
Hi, I'm alright. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yes, ma'am. It is 9:30 a.m. where you are, and 9:40 a.m. and it's 9:40 p.m. where I am. So, good morning.
Thank you so much.
So Pinky, we are interviewing you, understanding that you are that Pinky is not your name; it's a pseudonym to protect your identity. You are a workers' rights defender in Southeast Asia, and you work to find inequities, and you work to discover slavery and unfair labor practices all across Southeast Asia. Tell me about your work.
Yes, Miss Amaraj, this is what exactly I have been doing for past few years. So I have been researching forced labor and human trafficking, monitoring the ethical recruitment in the global supply chains, and also trying to address the issues of migrant labor exploitation in the process, and trying to investigate and assist this victim, this group of workers. So this is what I have been doing. Yeah, as you said that, because of the nature of the job, and also to mitigate the risk of the job. So I have been working as research assistant to Mr. Andy Hall, and we are working together to address human trafficking as forced labor in the global supply chain. We are investigating and monitoring the ethical recruitment in the process. As you have said that, I have been using a pseudonym. It's
Mm-hmm.
for the nature of the job I have been doing, and also to mitigate the risk arises from the job, because I have been dealing with forced labor and human trafficking issue. So in
Right.
a way, it's against the gangsters or the mafia. So that is why I prefer to use pseudonym.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. So, tell me about the workers of Pengerang. What happened to them, and who are they, and what's going on there?
So this is one of the cases we have been dealing with. These workers are migrated from Bangladesh. So these workers, unfortunately, were subject to exploitation from their home country, and it is being continued in the host country as well. These Bangladeshi workers
Okay.
uh, are tricked by the false job promises of the agencies,
Mm-hmm.
which was helping them to migrate from Bangladesh to Malaysia. So
Right.
initially, these workers had to pay 5 to 6 times more, sometimes 7 times more migration cost, because
Mm.
they were tricked by false job promises, um, which includes a very high range of job salary, comfortable accommodation, good food in the host
Mm-hmm.
countries.
Mm.
But in reality, it doesn't exist.
Mm.
So by being tricked, these workers, sold their properties, take loans from multiple sources, and somehow manage to pay this heavy migration fee.
Right.
Mostly they are mostly from poor background, so to manage
Mm-hmm.
this migration fee, they had to go into their bondage, which is still continuing. And finally, when
Mm-hmm.
they migrated to Malaysia, they encounter non-existence of job for months.
How many uh, people are we talking about here?
So these Pengerang workers are about 750 in number.
750
Right.
people Wow.
Yes,
Believed and were recruited
right.
by this ring. Is it a company that did it, or is it like a ring, like a group that's, scamming people?
So it's a group. It's a group. It's a syndicate, allegedly a syndicate who are engaging these workers. The actors behind these syndicates are from Bangladesh and Malaysia,
Hmm.
allegedly from government sectors, from political backgrounds, and also from the industry. And
Pinky,
this
no, Pinky. So the government too. This is all kind of an inside job.
Yes, allegedly government officials are engaging because this scamming involve issuing false quota. So so government officials are in charge of issuing this quota, and they have to do kind of investigation to check the authenticity of the requirement of migrant workers. So when
Mm-hmm.
there is no transparency of that, when there is something wrong happening in issuing quota to hire migrant workers from different host or home countries,
Mm-hmm.
then definitely government officials have to take the responsibility of false quota, right?
So then these 750 people, they came to Malaysia, and then what happened?
So they came to Malaysia by paying exorbitant migration costs that I have mentioned, which is unjustified, and going into that bondage. And then after coming to Malaysia, they experienced non-existence of job. And beside that, on the very day of their arrival, all of their passports were confiscated at the airport. So, which is a
Mm,
very strong indicator of forced labor.
right.
So, this is how their movements are restricted in the destination country. And then
And they
this
are they filled up a plane, or they were just on different planes, like they just come and come and come and come and come, and then someone is there receiving them, basically,
right, right,
kind of thing.
50, sometimes it's 100 of workers coming in each flight, and then someone from the employer's end receive them from the airport. And on that very day, immediately what they do, the employer's representative collects their passport from them, and then they never return to the workers. So workers lost their passport at the very first place. And then this in this Pengarang worker case, and also in other cases as well, this representative collect these workers from the airport and then dump them in a accommodation which is unhealthy, congested, suffocating. So same thing happened with these Pengarang workers. So they have employers have received these workers from the airport and took them to the accommodation in Pengaran, Johor Bahru, and then they are dumped in an unhealthy accommodation, and where they are subject to series of exploitative treatment.
Like, so they would be put to work. Tell me how this now what
Sorry.
that they get put to work next. Like they just tell them to go work. Like what happens next?
No, they were staying in the accommodation, and the 750 workers are staying in the accommodation in an accommodation for months, and there was no job being provided, no salaries, and as I have said
What?
that yes, no salaries for months. They
No
were not.
job, no so nothing. How are they eating?
So they are being provided very poor quality and quantity of food by the employers. Sometimes there are no meals, sometimes there are two times of meals. So this is how they are having their food. So they are suffering from malnutrition. And also, as I said, they're dumped. All these 750 workers are staying in an accommodation, and each of the room in that accommodation being shared by 10 workers. And you will be surprised to know that only 5 to 6 functioning toilets are there for 750 workers. So
Oh,
some, yes,
so this is they're being kidnapped, and their recruitment fees are being kept for them to be jailed, essentially, and they're not working, they're not able to leave, and then this syndicate is keeping the fees and doing it all over again with new people.
right,
Is that sort
exactly.
of what it is that
Yes, yes.
they're tricked into no job and essentially jailed and kidnapped and kept alive, but that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And they are being treated inhumanly. And you'll be surprised to know, as their passports are confiscated, they are not allowed to receive any medical assistance, even in emergency. And one of the workers passed away suffering from heart attack, but couldn't receive any medical treatment. And I have talked to this worker's family and also the roommates of this worker. They say that this workers was under huge mental stress because he has huge debt in his home country, and his families were starving because he came to Malaysia with a big hope to settling his financial condition. And this hope and the false job promises made him to borrow a huge sum of money, and he was unable to pay that back for long period of long period of time. And money lenders were harassing his wives and family members, and he was not having job here, he didn't have any job here, and no salaries, and he was unable to pay back the money. So he was under huge stress, and finally he passed away.
This this is awful
Mm,
to ingest and understand. What
right.
is this company? Is it still going on? Like, is this company real?
So this company, allegedly, the company's name is MULIA One Energy.
Mulia One Energy? Like
Yes,
a, okay, uh-huh.
but obviously their intention was not good because they unable to provide a single job to any of the workers they hired. So there are 750 workers, and they are unable to provide job for single workers. In most of the cases, the companies are bogus. They issue false job quotas and hire migrant workers, where migrant workers forced to pay or sometimes tricked to pay huge sum of money, and then they migrate to the destination country, and there's no job. So, and then most of the time they don't respond to the workers emergencies. They are just
So,
act irresponsible, and this is how workers suffer. So most of the cases these companies are bogus, and you'll be surprised to know that JTK has issued, the Malaysian Labor Department has issued a statement and also asked this employer to compensate this group of workers, but however they are not showing up. So we assume this company as a bogus company.
how did you find out about this? Like, how did this come to you?
Which one? Is
The one about this particular Pengarang workers.
so because of our research, we have been constantly exploring the worker situation in Malaysia. So
Right.
one of from our contact reached us out, and also these workers were heading to JTK to lodge a complaint. About 171 workers were heading to JTK to lodge a complaint, and it was made a big headline in the Malaysian newspaper. So we tried to find out this group of workers, and one of my from my network had contact one of the workers, because we have huge network of workers. So through my network, I have reached out this Pangarang workers, and then I have try to explore their situation and talk to as many workers as I can.
Right. So then, did your group bring this forward to the JTK or to the government? Like, what is the next? What are the next steps?
So when we have reached them out, they actually attempted to lodge complaint to JTK. However, 171 workers were arrested from this group because of not having proper legal document or passport, which was, as I said, that which was confiscated on the very day of their arrival in Malaysia.
Right.
And then we started to investigate the case, and then we did the case study. We did detailed documentation of their situation, how they are being exploited, how their situation was at that point of time. And then we communicated with government and local NGOs, and we tried to engage local NGOs. We
Mm-hmm.
even communicated with UN bodies,
Mm-hmm.
highlighting all the cases we have been dealing, which is similar or exactly as same as to this case. So unfortunately, we have got any initial positive response from, or any enthusiastic approach from governments, any of the governments, home country or host country, and also local NGOs.
So, so the United Nations knows about this. Is it that it's so sophisticated that that it can't be busted?
Yes, they are aware about all the cases, how migrant workers migrant workers from different source countries, especially from Bangladesh, are being treated in Malaysia. So we have, communicated the cases we have been dealing with the UN bodies, and on 14th April of this year, they have issued a statement highlighting the issue, how Bangladeshi migrant workers are being treated, how they are subject to fraudulent process and systematic corruption, and also call on Malaysia to enhance the protection mechanism.
You would think that the world would come together and maybe put together a crime, like some sort of department to arrest these actors. Like if the government is a part of this, then they're not going to send the police in to arrest them. So who holds these organizations accountable?
So, Emirate, I really want to believe that, this day is not very far when world will come together to, help or to address this issue, and also help to this worker to find get out of this modern slavery. But thing is that um, I don't know why it is taking so long to, you know, to hold account the relevant actors, to address these actors or arrest these actors. They are always staying behind the screen. They are not, their name is not, it's a very very small syndicate, like it's a syndicate engaging very small number of workers, as we are assuming. So if there is a genuine interest to address the actors, it should not be taking so long.
Right.
So yeah, I think there is a lack of genuine interest of the governments and also the relevant networks who can address the issue, like from their end. So I really hope that governments, both Bangladesh and Malaysia, will put their genuine effort to address these workers, and um, hold them responsible for this exploitative or systematic corruption.
Oh, yes. So tell me about the 750 workers. What of them today? Where are they now?
So they have lodged complaint to JTK, which is the labor department in Malaysia, claiming 2.2 million of Malaysian ringgit as a compensation of their unpaid wages. However, court asked the employer to pay 1.1 million, about 1 million Malaysian ringgit to pay as a compensation, and give them grace period of 45 days. However, that time has over, and these workers are yet to be compensated. So we are still waiting to see what is happening. Um, so yeah, we are hoping that they will be getting their compensation, rightful compensation, because they are unemployed. They were unemployed for a long period of time. And also I have got to know that about 700 workers from the 750 workers of Pangaran case are given job in different industries through a special permission, because in Malaysia it's difficult to change the employer, which is also creating a barrier. So they have given job um, through special permission, and they're working. However, we are still monitoring, because we have experienced that sometimes workers ended up with job, but they're still exploiting. They're still exploiting in their new job. For example, they're encountering non-receipt of payment, or they are working in an unhealthy working environment, or working for long hours. So we are not living it. We are not, we are not considering its success. We are still monitoring, and see how it rolls, how these workers are being treated, and if they are being paid properly or not.
Right. So did they escape? They were saved? That, someone found them? How did they leave where they were?
Uh, no, they are initially, like gradually, their things are being settled, and that is what they are promised. They are still in their accommodation, but doing job in different sector. They have just started it. So, so
Oh, so they're
this
working now. That finally, how many months were they without work at all?
so till from October 2023 to till March, they were unemployed, and now gradually they are getting job arranged by JTK. So about
Ah.
692 workers have ended up with a job. So they are getting salaries, they have informed, but we are still monitoring.
So I think about like where they live, who runs it is just they allow it to happen. So they're living in the same place as where they were essentially kidnapped. And who is, you know, monitoring their movements, or did everyone leave?
So wherever they have get job, they are you know shifting to that employer's accommodation.
Ah, they
So
live where they work.
yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
some of the workers who actually fled from the accommodation before these things happen, so they also shifted to the place where they have found jobs. Some workers already started working, you know how would I say, like irregularly.
Right.
So, and some workers have managed job by the JTK. So
Right,
they are now started staying in their employer's accommodation. But initially they were staying in the accommodation, you know, accommodation arranged by the recruiter, their initial recruiter.
So Pinky, did the workers get their passports back? What's the status of that?
So we are investigating the issue if the workers have got back their passport back, because it's a big issue in Malaysia. In many cases, workers sometimes ended up with jobs, sometimes they don't, but they never get back their passport. So we are trying to figure out in Pengarang case if the workers have got back their passport.
Well, you're doing such good work. Um, you and Andy Hall and all of your colleagues in Southeast Asia, just fighting the good fight and trying to bring light to modern day slavery and helping migrant workers get paid equitably and fairly. So thank you so much for what you do. What else do you want people to know?
I want world to be aware, to be informed about the situation, because I have friends from different countries, especially from developed country. They are not aware about the situation, what is happening with the migrant workers, especially in Southeast Asia, how they are being exploited, how they are being treated, and how their families and they are suffering. So I want people to know about this issue. I want people, responsible people, to raise their voice, to to protect this workers right, and also UN bodies, and also governments to come forward to address this issue, because they are human being. The way they are being treated is inhuman. So we
Right.
should come forward. We should not let this issue not being aware widely. So we should highlight this issue, and we should come forward together to help this group of workers and help them to get out of this modern slavery situation, or not to be victim of human trafficking in person.
Thank you so much, Pinky. I appreciate you joining me tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on your show to to let the people know about this situation.
Oh, most definitely. Well, have a wonderful evening and we'll be talking soon. Thank you for joining Workers Rock.
Thank you so much, Amriti. I had a really good time with you in the show.
Oh, likewise. Okay, bye bye.
Bye.
That concludes this episode of Workers Rock. Thank you for listening.